All right, and Stratting immediately coming in and putting everything off because I wait through the loading screen before I start my commentary. I also should check and make sure that I'm not talking in-game because I very well might be. Okay, I'm not. We're good there. But welcome to round 2 here in Portimao. Definitely one of my personal favorite tracks, both in the game and generally on the calendar. Get rid of that one as well. But yeah, again, should be a very interesting race here. 20 cars lined up on the grid. Very, definitely a challenging track to get fully right. Lap in, lap out. Track limit's going to be an issue. Traction is going to be at a premium here. And again, it's going to be very important to get this race correct. Likely to see a good mix of strategy. I assume that we are going to be dry and dry today, so shouldn't be any complications on that front. Yeah, looking at a very interesting race. Again, 20 drivers on the grid, so looking at probably a lot of chaos into the very challenging turn 1 of the sector 2, but it's it's a very fast flowing circuit, loads of elevation change. And, again, personally, really, really fun to drive, especially once you start to find that rhythm and pick it up. It just is fun. It often provides some really good racing, and largely because it's outside of that main straight, it is still pretty difficult to overtake, and that can lead to some poor racing at times. But I think thankfully, with the kind of way the game plays out, that especially around Portimao and with these car models, provides for some really fun racing. But we'll stay on board with the Dutchman Alcoholic Husky as we come down the pit straight to start the lap. Of course, you got the little elevated area right along the pit straight, right along the start-finish line, drop down the hill, about 6th gear into turn 1, try to use all the track limits on the outside, keeping pace through turns 2. Husky actually going to get blocked there a little bit from one of the Williams. Through 3, really important to get that traction right out of turn number 4. And you got the second DRS zone is 22.2 through that first sector, and the run down into the hairpin of turn 5. Another really solid overtaking circuit spot, but it is very difficult as you go downhill. Immediately got to try to get a good exit up the hill into turn number 6, and then you got this double right-hander of 7 and 8. Pretty easy to get wrong. You don't want to bleed out too much, but at the same time, you want to carry good speed, get a good exit up over the hill and into turn number 9. Just a little kink left, come up over the hill, get on the brakes as you come into that long turn 10. Down the hill once again into the start of the 3rd sector. Got a little kink of 11. They got probably one of the slower points on the circuit. You got 12. You got 13 coming up in and 14. Here and there is 14. And from here all the way flat down around to the line through turn number 16, up the hill and back to the start-finish line. So here comes Alcoholic, and he'll set a 17.6. Strachosaur, of course, having to serve a qualifying ban from the previous round, as does Viperize. So Viperize will be 19th. Strachosaur will be 20th. So that will take us down to 18 drivers to get their qualifying laps in. We've got a Ferrari just coming to the line. That's Speedy Gunner, who's actually going to go 0.2 slower than Alcoholic. Got a McLaren coming to the line as well. That's Ollie Jelly coming to the line, I believe just starting a lap, so I'll have to see what his time is. We'll jump to what I believe is either the V-Carb, it is the Red Bull, actually, of Darwizzy coming up over the hill. And he'll set a 18.1, so not a great time there from the Red Bull, but purple in Sector 3. So certainly pretty good there. Got a Haas and a Williams coming to the line next. Sayao goes 5th fastest. Dawson, as Stratting, goes top with a 17.625, and DeChal immediately pips that time. That's a 17.5 from him. Got a Haas and an Aston Martin coming to the line. That's Milan. He'll go 6th quickest. Gabicho, meanwhile, 17.3. He goes to top of the order. And he had a decent amount of fight in yesterday's Group 1 race. We got Shark on a lap. We'll jump on board with Debo as he comes around to finish his lap. Looking to be actually not super competitive. He'll slot in to P9 with a 19.5 on his first lap. The Mercedes of Shark is going to dive into the pits and abort that lap. Got both Ferraris on a lap. Formula Jonah on and on an out lap. I believe that's Speedy Gunner setting up for another push lap, so we'll keep an eye and see if the Ferrari driver can pick up any extra time. Ollie Jelly jumps his way up to second position on the grid. So front row as of right now. And the challenge here is there is the potential that we could see a little bit of gamesmanship here with exactly what starting grid spot everybody wants. You really want to be on that left-hand side in that run to turn one. Of course, the goal is to, I think, focus on getting that good exit first. As Alcoholic and a half up on his first lap time as he looks to get a better gap. But you really want to try to be in one of those odd-numbered grid boxes if possible, just because that allows you to carry more speed through turn one, because since the track already kind of bleeds out that way, it allows you to carry much more speed. Drivers on those inside lines are not going to be able to carry as much speed as Alcoholic goes third fastest with a 17.542. So again, it's going to be interesting to see if there is any gamesmanship, because maybe if you're Alcoholic and you're only up about a tenth coming out of the final corner, that's, of course, considering all results hold. If you're Alcoholic on that final lap and you're in third, you're confirmed P3 as Xbox Gamer goes about a tenth and a half quicker through the first sector on his lap, so we'll stay on board with the Aston Martin. But yeah, will there be gamesmanship here? Because speaking from experience yesterday, that inside line to turn one can end up in you losing a lot of positions there. So we'll have to see what exactly happens. A couple drivers still without lap times on the board. Formula Jonah, who was a podium sitter last time out, did slot into P10. I don't believe our winner from last time out is in this race. It was certainly a very eventful one. Around Circuit of the Americas, multiple punctures late in the race. Actually, no, sorry, it was Void Dawson, who currently sits in P12, who won that one. Apologies. Forgot exactly which Williams it was. Alcoholic going to dive into the pits here. We'll jump to the Kick Sauber, just making its way out of the final corner. That is Bartu coming to the line on a set of mediums. Will jump all the way up to 8th place. It's Gabito also 17.008 for Williams. Big improvement there to put him about 4/10 clear. So everybody now with a new time to chase. And Bartu could be in there for the fight for pole position. Not too many drivers out on the lap right now. Shark is one of them. He just started his lap, so we'll try to keep an eye on where that Mercedes pans out. It does seem that he's a bit all over the place in terms of lags. Hopefully that's not too bad during the race. It also looks like he's taken a decent trip into the gravel at some point, as that is a very dirty mark. But yeah, nobody seemingly on the lap right now. LSR Stratting just getting underway. Gabicho coming out of the final corner. I imagine we'll see the provisional pole sitter dive into the pits. I believe that was Isha just getting a little bit of a tow as he starts his lap. The almost race winner from last weekend. Might know him more as Guardian Knight if you've seen him around. Again, we'll kind of have to see there. His Haas teammate of Sayal looking to get a lap underway. Rostamol also on a lap. We'll jump on board with Shark, as he should be the next one to put a competitive lap time on the board. As I believe Dechal jumps up into P4, splitting both VCARB drivers, and that's a mistake from Shark there, as he'll go around in the final sector, so that lap time will be wiped off the board. And he'll need to kind of continue to try and find improvement. LSR Stratting, meanwhile, up half a second through the first two sectors. Dechal, meanwhile, has invalidated his lap. Kendricks, meanwhile, has disconnected, so I'll try to get him back in just a second once we see the end of LSR Stratting's lap. As we have a driver here who could potentially, is this lap going to take provisional pole? Still 8.5 minutes left to go in the session. Here comes Stratting up over the hill, and it's only good enough for P2. A 17.146 from Stratting loses some time in that final sector, and that'll leave him a little bit off the pace for the moment. And Shark finally coming out of that corner to finish his lap. It's going to be over 2-minute lap time, but at least a lap time on the board for Shark. So that gets him a little bit better. Again, only person now without a lap time on the board is Kendricks. Stratting not up. Jelly has invalidated. Aisha a bit down in his lap, but he's jumped up into 4th. Alcoholic just getting set to get underway for his lap. We'll see if he can join his teammate Dachal down as well. Speedy Gunner coming out of the final corner now. Does look like there may have been a mistake early on in that lap, but he'll keep it tight through the final corner. It'll certainly be a quick lap time. 15 as he comes up over the hill. 16, 17. It's a 2/10 improvement, so it'll put him up to P7 as Darwizzy behind him goes 8th quickest. But a good lap there. Xbox Gamer up 2/10. We'll jump back over to Alcoholic. He's down 2/10 through Sector 1, so no improvement there if he wants to think about joining his teammate. Dawson invalidated. Debo invalidated. A number of cars still in the garage. Bartu on an outlap, this time on a set of softs. So we'll stay on board with Xbox Gamer as of right now, as he comes through that Sector 2 marker, lost a 10th in that middle sector, that advantage on his previous lap, down to only a single 10th. As Kendricks, I haven't seen you rejoin, so I'll invite you again just to be sure. It does look like you're in. I'll send you an extra invite just to be safe. If you are not currently in. But here comes Xbox up over the hill and to the line as Kendricks does come back, and it's not going to be enough of improvement from Xbox Gamer to improve. There's a Mercedes coming to the line as well. I believe that was Shark. He'll improve to a 142, but still a very slow lap time, perhaps a recharge lap. One of the Saubers to the line next. That was Bartu just getting underway, so we'll see what his lap time comes in at. Got one of the Red Bulls. That's Darwizzy. We'll jump back to that McLaren then, because that was Ollie Jelly, up over 6/10. So by far and away, the fastest lap time we've seen so far. As he comes out the final corner, and if he can pull out even more magic in this final sector, wouldn't only be the first time into the 16s. It should be a very comfortable pole position, and yeah, I think he should go comfortably here. Ollie Jelly to the line, and it's a 3/10 edge for the McLaren driver as he jumps up onto the front row. About 5.5 minutes left to go in qualifying. Looking at the Williams of Debo coming on to the line. Looking to just get his lap underway. 35 there from him. He's got to improve from a 19.5, so we'll keep an eye on him. Aston Martin Xbox on an in-lap. We got Bartu putting up either a personal best or something along those lines through the middle sector. One moment. Here comes Bartu over the hill into the line, and he'll go 4th quickest. He'll jump just ahead of his teammate of Isha. So Kick Sauber 4 and 5. They were on for a potentially incredible result last weekend, but fell victim to punctures on those intermediates in the dying stages of the race, and just wasn't able to get anything going. But Ollie Jelly, your provisional pole sitter, about 4.5 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. Yeah, I mean, was it Aston Martin's not doing loads right now? There is a Williams off in that middle sector. Xbox, not on a lap. This should be an in-lap from the Aston Martin. Should be confirmed as he comes along that Sector 2 timing marker. So not much to watch on that front, but we'll keep an eye on it. Shark, meanwhile, up a 10th through that first sector. Be coming up to that Sector 2 marker shortly. He does have a Kick Sauber for company just up ahead. Down 1.3 seconds, actually. So maybe a back off from Shark, but not very quick from him. So I don't think we'll see him improve. Kendricks, meanwhile, is on an out lap. So we'll see what happens there. Actually, we'll jump to... Actually, no, because Bartu finished that lap. That's why he's that far up. But here comes Shark out the final corner. Again, not looking to be a very competitive lap time, and the Mercedes going to dive into the pits here. I think just thinking he done enough and was not going to improve there. So only driver on the lap right now is Void Dawson. We got a couple drivers joining him as well. Chal, who currently sets P7, just getting underway. Going to have to manage some of that traffic coming out of the pits, but times it just well enough where he's able to get out in front of an Aston Martin and a Haas. That was Milan and who was the Haas? That was Milan and Sayal just coming out of the pits. Dawson, though, up a second early. Of course, Dawson is your current championship leader after that win in where he took the lead with only 2 corners left to go after penalties and went on to win that race. And sometimes with Portugal, it's just a matter of getting that one lap right. We'll have to see. Here comes Dawson up over the hill. He does have a Ferrari out ahead of him. That is Formula Jonah, who currently sits P13. Dawson, though, only a 1.5 edge as of right now. So we'll see how much time he can pick up in Sector 3, how much he's left in the tank. But here he comes out the final corner. A little bit of a blink of the light there as well. So maybe some ERS tactics going on. But here comes Dawson up over the hill. Not going to be good enough for provisional pole, but should be an improvement. But it's only good enough for P14. So not a great improvement there from your championship leader to try and jump up the order. One of the Aston Martins, it's Milan, just starting his lap. So we'll keep an eye on him as he makes his way around. We'll try to figure out anybody else on a lap. Kendrick 62.5 through the first 2 sectors. A little bit of a twitch there as well. But here he comes in that Alpine as he comes through the final couple of corners. Not going to be super competitive, so potentially just an extra push setup lap, but it's going to be up there. Again, not going to be a world beater, but it is enough to jump up into P11, so a solid lap there from Kendricks as is the track getting very, very busy as all 18 remaining drivers are currently out on track. Gabicho is just starting his lap for Haas, trying to steal provisional pole. Under 1.5 minutes left to go. And again, getting very, very busy at this point in time. Isha just getting underway. Look at all that traffic behind Alcoholic. He's got a McLaren right behind him. That is Ollie, but both drivers on an out lap. Stratting just getting underway. There's Xbox giving the Ferrari a little bit of a toe to the line. And Formula Jonah going to take that advantage to jump up into P10. That's probably going to be the end of his qualifying session, unless he wants to try and sit fully in the toe of that Aston throughout the course of this lap and potentially pick up any extra time, but no, he's going to invalidate. So Formula Jonah starting no better than P10. Milan crosses the line. That wasn't enough to improve, but he does have a shot at another lap here. Gabicho, meanwhile, lost a lot of time in that middle sector. He still has a shot at getting an improvement. Stratting not improving. Bartu, meanwhile, is just getting his lap underway after 6/10 improvement on his last lap. Isha, meanwhile, through 2 sectors, not improving, so that's not going to be enough. Alcoholic, though, jumping up into P6 on his lap, or actually on his most recent lap. He's actually, 7th. But here he goes to start a lap. Kendricks, meanwhile, goes 5th fastest. So Kendricks putting a much more competitive lap time up there on the board. We'll stick on board with Bartu, as I think he's the only one improving significantly. Ollie Jelly is a bit down in his lap. We'll actually stay on board with Stratton. Can he pull out anything? Dachal, that's his qualifying session over. He'll start no better than 8th. Stratting to the line first. He will improve only slightly and will start no better than 3rd. Here comes one of the Aston Martins to the line. That's Xbox. He has not improved. Formula Jonah coming to the line as well. He's also invalidated. So we'll jump on board with Dawson, who will not improve either. So Dawson, winner last time out, will start 15th. Here comes the second Aston Martin of Milan, who's also invalidated. He'll start 13th. There's a kick. Sauber just off the road trying to stay out of the way. Sayao up 6/10 as he comes through the final corner. Can Sayao pull out anything to jump up the order? He'll need more time if he wants to improve further. Sayao to the line. He will not improve from 16th. There's one of the V-Carbs to the line. That's Alcoholic. He won't improve enough to jump up. He'll start in P7. One of the Mercedes to the line, I believe that was Shark. He'll start 18th. The McLaren of Ollie Jelly to the line. He will not improve. So it's on Gabicho to improve. He's not improving. Stratting's not improving. Bartu is off. He went deep. So Bartu will not improve, and I think it will be Ollie Jelly from Gabicho and Kendricks, unless anybody can pull out anything at the line here. Speedy Gunner jumps up into P5, so a solid improvement at the end of that session. But I believe that should do it here in qualifying. But Ollie Jelly is your provisional pole sitter here in Portugal for what should prove to be a very interesting race here around the hills. Of course, quick reminder, we will have a 2-minute break, so any drivers here, do not immediately ready up. You will be penalized if you do so. We just have a quick 2-minute hydration and piss break. So definitely be sure to take advantage of that. Grab some water real quick and make sure you are ready for the race. And we will have, of course, that 2-minute break. We'll have formation lap, and then we'll get underway. Yeah, Ollie Jelly from Gabicho from Stratting, who I think has a better spot on the grid than Gabicho does, bar 2 in 4th. Speedy, again, in that Scarlet Ferrari, looking to be 5th, and Kendricks should have a decent shot in 6th at improving. But I think Kendrick's definitely in a tough spot in that P6. Again, just going off of some experience from yesterday, going 6th to 12th by the time we got to turn number 5. But the McLaren at the front, it should be very interesting, and we could see a new championship leader going into next week. Of course, Ferrari going to be looking to make strides back at Williams as well, as Williams also leading the current constructors' standings. Of course, 3 points to Jelly, 2 to Gabicho, 1 to Stratting for their positions in qualifying, so we'll be sure to keep that in mind as we get standings together. And we will get underway shortly, but it gives us a little bit of time to talk strategy here. I think it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Obviously, safety cars will play a factor in this one, so that's something you are always going to have to keep in mind. But if we... Oh, a little bit of a voice crack there. If we do have a safety car period, that, again... All right, let me actually talk. If we do have a safety car period, that will throw tactics to the wind, more or less. But if we don't, if we just have straight up green flag racing, then I think there is a very good chance that we will see mediums soft vaporized, don't you dare, because the world will give you karma and disconnect you. Medium to soft, soft to medium, definitely a viable strategy here. The hard's not the greatest tire, but after, they will reach the point where, hey, if you want to go soft to hard, try and get a big undercut and feel more comfortable defending around here, if you feel more comfortable sticking with drivers here, then maybe those hard's the way to go. But I think soft to medium, medium to soft, definitely that primary strategy for all of our drivers. Fuel also shouldn't really be a concern in this one. I don't think we can expect any of those fuel concerns unless anybody goes really low. Somebody goes multiple laps down on fuel, then you might have to do some serious fuel saving. But you should get a decent chunk back just driving around the circuit. ERS usage, going to be something as well. Not a lot of hard braking zones around here, so depending on how high your engine braking is, that could be another factor. And ultimately, we'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. We're still waiting for that countdown after this 2-minute break. And then we'll get underway. Also gives me some more time to watch some Steeler football, which, unluckily for me, it has been going on during these races. So I got to multitask a little bit, but Steelers currently up on the Browns, which is nice. 27-7 going into the fourth quarter, and so they're probably, I jam out to Renegade, but I also don't want to get this stream taken down. However, we'll get underway for the formation lap. Everybody should pull away fairly comfortably, and of course, Ollie Jelly going to be leading the way here. It does give us a chance to take a look at tire choices off the grid, and it's mediums for all of the top 11 and Viperize down there in P19. So 12 drivers opting to at least begin the race on that medium set of tires, including, surprisingly, Kendricks, who we almost always see opt for the soft tire at the start of these races, but he's in 6th in that Alpine on mediums. So that'll certainly be interesting. But starting down in P12 with Xbox Gamer in the Aston Martin, soft tires down for the rest of the grid, of course, excluding the McLaren of Viperize. So that'll definitely be something interesting to watch as field concertinaing up a little bit as they make their way through that hairpin. But going to be really interesting to see how strategies pan out, see how good those soft tires are compared to the mediums once we do get underway. As you do have a decent bit of time to get those tires up to temperature, that is a driver off the circuit. That is Darwizzy, who actually went off circuit back at, turn number... I believe that's turn number 8, just kind of getting on the power there, trying to really push it. Mercedes, a Shark as well, goes off circuit. So, a little bit of chaos here on the formation lap. But everybody seemingly through the lap okay. No disqualifications on the way to the grid. So everybody's tires should be okay. But most of the grid still making their way slowly to the back. We'll, of course, be waiting on Strachosaur and Viperize to get parked up. But Ollie Jelly is going to be sitting on the grid for a decent amount of time. It's actually going to be really aggressive from Ollie, pointing to the inside there. Got the Haas of Gabicho lining up. He'll try and orient his car the opposite way. Xbox Gamer with a bad park up. He's going to be bumped back, so those soft tires really going to have to work in his favor. DeChal as well getting that DSQ for the park job. So now we're just waiting on Strachosaur and Viperize, slowly making their way up to the grid box. And the two at the back with a good park job. And so we are ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 lights. And we're underway here in Portugal. It's a great getaway from Ollie Jelly, who's going to pull immediately to that right-hand side. Gabicho with a terrible start. Stratting will move up into P2 before turn 1. Speedy up into third. A little bit of chaos behind as they're going 2x3x2. And DeChal comes off worse for wear there with a little bit of contact. He'll manage to hold on to that car, though, as they make their way through the first couple of corners. But Ollie Jelly, great getaway. Stratting with a great start as well to pick up spots. He's going to come under pressure from Stratting. As you can see the field fanning out there in the background. The Salbers side by side. It's going to be Bartu going up on Isha. A little bit of chaos. That's a Williams round. That is Debo round at the turn 5 hairpin. He'll drop to the tail of the field. Viperize has had a great start. He's already up into P13. There goes a V-Carb round. That's Stratting round. A little bit of damage as well to a car, as I think cars checking up. And, Stratting luckily ghosted there. There's a Williams round as well. Debo struggling for grip in the early stages, but Stratting going to fall right down the order. And that's a horror start for the Dutchman. And that's going to be great news from Ollie Jelly. Speedy having to go wide to avoid Gabicho, who's looking to make a move. Here comes Gabicho. Also, Bartu looking to swing his way around the outside. His Speedy Gunner actually has damage on that Ferrari, so that's why he's considerably slower than everybody else at this point in time, potentially having due to having to check up to Stratting's spin, and he'll have to dive into the pits and get that damage changed. But at the end of lap 1, it's a comfortable lead for Ollie Jelly. Of course, no DRS here. Bit of lag there as well, but Bartu and Isha up into second and third. Kendricks in fourth. Xbox has had a great start. He's up into fifth. As we make our way through turn 1 for the first time, seemingly, again, a lot of side-by-side battling. Gabicho in there. Bit of contact there again, and that's the other V-Carb driver. That's Alcoholic round. So V-Carb with a horrible start, as both their drivers now down to 17th and 18th. Xbox Gamer now round as well, as I think there was contact there as he made his way through the hairpin. Wide there from Shark, but this is a race going about as perfectly planned as you can ask for Ollie Jelly. A 3.5 second gap already here on lap number 2. And it's Bartu, Isha, Kendricks, 2, 3, 4. Gabicho bringing up 5th. Viperize on an absolute tear right now. He's up to 7th and already looking to make a move on Formula Jonah in 6th. And again, the field very much shaken up. Speedy Gunner is going to be hoping for a safety car at this point, and is over 11 seconds back of Debo. Just going to try to make as most of this race as he can. But it's McLaren leading the way to cross the line, and it's a 4-second gap up at the front. As Milan is, I think, round there, he's going to have to check up and dive into the pit lane. Not sure what happened there to the Aston Martin, but he'll have to dive into the pits now. So we'll stay on board with this battle for P2. Again, 4 seconds plus the gap to the car ahead. DeChal getting by Seau as well. The field's starting to spread out a little bit. Again, here comes one of the Kick Saubers looking to make a move. There's Kendricks looking to make his presence known on the two teammates. Viperize, meanwhile, has found his way past Formula Jonah. And now he'll go charging after everybody. So it does seem like the only challenger to Ollie Jelly might be his teammate, as that pairing may be an absolutely dangerous combination as this season continues. Something else to consider as this race goes on is that pit lane entry. We, of course, have seen two drivers pit. Speedy Gunner actually pitting again. So perhaps not getting that damage fixed. And now fully behind the field there. Yellow flag in Sector 2. That's for the Mercedes of Shark having a spin. Ollie Jelly, again, stretching that advantage, gaining about a second a lap in the early stages. Here comes Kendricks, though, on a charge within a tenth and a half, looking for a move. Is he going to... He's going to be squeezed to the inside by that Aston Martin. They'll go side by side through turn 1. Both drivers going to go off the track, though. Kendricks is going to hold that position. I think all fair racing there, but that's going to allow Viperize to close up very nicely. But yeah, Kendricks getting his elbows out, as was Isha. Here comes Viperize, though, looking to make a move. He'll dive to the inside a little bit late there. Does have to lock it down to make sure that he doesn't go into the back of the Sauber, but manages to hold on to it for the moment. But it's Ollie Jelly first. Again, really just in a race of his own right now. Here comes Viperize, still just on an absolute charge right now. Looking to gain more spots. He'll take a peek to the inside there through the middle sector, carrying good speed, but that door not quite open enough as Isha looked to come in and snag that apex. We'll come back around to the start-finish straight here. As up over the hill we come. Kendricks does still have DRS advantage to bar 2 ahead. But, you know, we're going to have to start clearing some gaps if anybody wants to take the fight to Ollie. Here comes Viperize on Isha as well. So could we see 2 overtakes in as many corners? There goes Kendricks to the inside. He'll move up to P2. Viperize and Isha, though, both with DRS. Isha going to actually go up the inside of his teammate. And so Isha and Kendricks both getting by Viperize. And that's Bartu into the back of his teammate. He slid a little bit. That's going to force Viperize to check up. And Gabicho, Strakasaur, Void Dawson, Darwizzy all now coming into to join this fight for P2. But Kendricks now leads this fray for P2. And Isha going to go chasing back after him. Meanwhile, Viperize still looking to try and find a way past. Again, coming through turn number 8. We'll see how good of an exit. A little bit of a slide there from the Sauber. A little bit of slide from Viperize too, though, so he's not able to take quite as much advantage as he would like. Viperize looking to the inside, looking to try and find a move any way he can here. Just can't quite find anything, manage to get anything done at this point. And here comes Gabicho on him now, who again, we saw had a lot of pace in that Group 1 race yesterday. So here we go. End of lap number 5 here. It's going to be Kendricks leading the way this time. He's got an 8/10 advantage. He's got an 8/10 gap behind, and it's going to be very tight. So Kendricks should be safe as we make our way down the start-finish straight. Here comes Viperize looking to the inside of the Sauber of Bartu, but not going to have enough ERS to get that done. So they'll hold positions through turn 1. Dechal, meanwhile, getting ahead of Xbox as they come down the pit straight. So the Mercedes, again, not for points, but looking to hold on to that position if anything happens up ahead. Bartu and Viperize battling. Contact there, and that's going to allow Gabicho to slide through as Viperize looking to fight it through turn 4. Sorry, I missed that. Viperize, again, just looking. Milan is the first recipient of a 3-second time penalty. But yeah, that does put Viperize down to P6. Again, we saw a little bit of contact there between the McLaren, and the Sauber, but seemingly no major damage on Viperize's car, as both drivers really getting their elbows out. And now Strakasaur right onto the back as well, as both Viperize and Strakasaur have had great races so far. Yellow flag behind. That's in back in Sector 1. That's Shark again. But this may allow Kendricks and Isha as well to start to make a bit of a breakaway from the rest of the pack. And actually, Isha going to lose a bit of time there. So as I say that, Gabicho does pull up to DRS range. So we got a bit of a train going here from 2nd down to 10th. And so we'll see how this race continues to pan out. But those gaps starting to lengthen a little by little. Only potential overtake right now may be Strakasaur on Viperize. Viperize going to defend the inside down into turn 1 and will hold it as they make their way through. A little bit wide though, so potential track limits warning there. Ollie Jelly, 3-second time penalty for track limits. So he's already up to 3 warnings. And yeah, it seems that kick Sauber really slow through turn 3. That's where that car is weakest. Viperize may have tried to take advantage at turn 4. He'll take the advantage here, though, into turn 5. He'll get that McLaren just slightly ahead here, squeeze that kick Sauber to the outside, and it's Viperize now finally ahead of Bartu. But that gap to Gabicho has opened up just that little bit, where he's going to bridge that 3/10 gap over the second and third sector if he wants to stay within DRS range. But yeah, again, Kendricks and Isha going at it. Viperize, again, doesn't have much time to catch up to Gabi Cho, who is, again, showed a lot of pace. And it does look like Viperize is going to lose DRS here to the cars ahead. It's a second and a half. It's 1.6. Yeah, so I think Viperize in a not-so-great spot here. The pack, though, is starting to lengthen a little bit. We've seen that kind of 9-car fight turn into 3 groups of 3. Battle for second, battle for fifth, and battle for eighth. As that, you can see the Red Bull going very defensive in the background. Viperize, though, going to attack down the straight. He will hold off bar 2 as they go through turn 1. Xbox Gamer, 10 seconds, speeding in the pit lane. Made that mistake yesterday. It's an easy one to make around here, so we'll see how the drivers manage it, especially on worn tires, as this continues. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That's Stratting out of the race. And there was a Haas-off there as well. That's Sayao. So Stratting and Sayao, I think, coming together there, and Stratting out of the race. Not sure what happened there. I know we had Stratting with an equipment failure last time out. Somehow that is not a safety car. But we got our first retirement from the race, and it's a V-carb of LSR Stratting. Soon we'll hear in just a couple seconds as to how that occurred, but not really sure. Meanwhile, the gap up at the front between Kendricks and Ollie Jelly holding solid at around 6 seconds, so Kendricks definitely on the pace of your leader and bringing a couple of cars with him. Viperize has, meanwhile, closed up the gap to Gabi Cho quite considerably. He's got to find something this corner, though, to try and fully bridge that gap, as it's still at about 1.1 seconds, so that's going to put him once again under threat from bar 2. As here comes the kick Sauber down the pit straight. That Haas is all over the... Gabi Cho and that Haas all over the place. Bar 2, meanwhile, going to go down the outside of Viperize. He'll take that position into turn 1. Xbox Gamer is retired from the session, and that'll bring out the virtual safety car here. So a VSC for the retirement of Xbox Gamer's Aston Martin. It's a very odd place to have retired as well. Jump on board with Speedy. Yeah, I'm not sure how he could have retired there. Maybe he hit the curb and just kind of, maybe he spun to that inside and just hit the wall. Just one of those kind of lazy spins where that can happen. But not fully sure. But yeah, virtual safety car here on lap number 9. And that will allow at least the pack to maybe tighten up a little bit in some spots, lengthen out a bit in others. Allow a couple drivers maybe who are in an inopportune position to dive into the pits. We'll see if anybody takes advantage to swamp to the hards here. I imagine that if, that we'll have a couple of drivers stay out. We do have like Speedy staying out because a lot of those drivers who are further back will really need a full safety car to get them back into this race. There is the chance as well that that VSC ending message will remain on screen for a long time. So drivers definitely need to be aware that the VSC ending message may be longer than normal in terms of their timing. Otherwise, you might get that drive-through penalty to serve. And Debo is the first victim. We'll go ahead. I think there were multiple penalties there, as it's Sayao and Debo both with drive-through penalties. Everybody else holding on. Gabi Cho, meanwhile, had a terrible restart. He's down to 7th. Strakasaur and Viperize banging wheels as they make their way through the first couple of corners, but they got a miles better restart. Viperize going to go around the outside. A bit of a slide from Strakasaur as they run down in the hairpin of turn 5. Here comes Gabi Cho, though. It's going to be Strakasaur with the inside as they run into the hairpin, and he'll take P5. Bar 2, though, got a great restart. He's up into 4th. Again, that pack just starting to lengthen out a little bit. Already have some drivers a lap down as well. Milan now a lap down. So we'll see how that continues, but just to give you an idea of gaps to each other, time penalties not going to be a factor as it stands. As yellow flag, that is for a Mercedes of Shark having an off. But as they come up over the hill, Kendricks, again, just looking to try and, I think, keep pace with Ollie, and Isha content just to sit in that draft for now. Strakasaur, meanwhile, going to come under threat for Viperize. He'll go defensive. as Alpine looking to take the fight to McLaren. He's going to squeeze Viperize all the way to the inside, but Viperize is going to have the positional advantage and the inside line, and is able to move back up into P5. Just to give you an idea of lap times as well. Actually, that's something that you certainly haven't seen. Ollie Jelly and Viperize setting exact same lap times in this race. In terms of their fastest laps, both McLarens with 19.963s. But Ollie Jelly, thanks to setting it first, does still have that fastest lap, and I assume that we'll see that lap time drop as those drivers are on the mediums as of right now. So it'll definitely be interesting to see what, any of the drivers that potentially walk away with the fastest lap. So yellow flag in sectors 2 and 3. That's for the lap down Mercedes of Shark. Just, pausing under blue flags to give way, but he is well out of this race here on lap number 11. But Ollie just continues to charge away. Bartu, meanwhile, has fallen back a little bit from the cars behind. Viperize has pulled a bit of a gap to Strachosaurus, so now the second McLaren has having a chance to make a bit of a break. But this Strachosaurus actually going to dive into the pits here on lap number 12. So what's the tire choice going to be for the Alpine? First scheduled green flag pit stop. Shark as well going to dive into the pits. That's a 10-second time penalty for him. So his race over. Mediums going on to Strachosaurus Alpine. So he's going to be looking to take those probably to the end and try to get as big of an undercut as he possibly can, as he now gets underway for the Alpine team. So we'll come out in 12th. Shark is out of the session as well, so that's our third retirement in this one. But that is going to leave Viperize in a nice little pocket of his own, where he can now go chase after Bartu. Actually, I missed Bartu. He made a big mistake there. He's down into P9. So I missed that mistake from the kick Sauber, as I was just about to talk about how it's looking like we'll see a Sauber versus Alpine versus McLaren championship fight throughout the whole of this season. But Bartu, big mistake there. He's now down into 9th. Alcoholic, I think, just doing everything he can to make a recovery drive. He's not too far off the back of the pack. Viperize, meanwhile, just taking little chunks of time away. Again, had that flashing yellow flag in Sector 1 for an AI car retiring. But we'll definitely have to keep an eye on a number of drivers throughout this race. Bartu actually going to dive into the pits. So was there damage on that car? Stratting, murdered by Seau, apparently. As we did see them battling through turn 1 when that retirement occurred. What's the tire choice going to be for the Sauber? It's going to be Hards. Bit of a slow lap time as well from Bartu, but Hards definitely, I don't think, will be the go-to for the majority of this grid. Bartu, though, will slap them on, and yeah, you can see how much time that spin lost him specifically to Strachosaur, who he was comfortably ahead of. That gap now going to be about 6 or 7 seconds, and on a harder tire, Rostamol 3 seconds for track limits, so that'll drop. Kendricks, meanwhile, up the front, is starting to drop Isha a little bit. That gap hovering right around the second mark. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That was, I don't know what that was for. Actually, that was for Bartu. Again, he had a 3-second miss there as well. So Bartu, big mistakes there. Yeah, and Stratting, very unhappy, and don't blame him. Just kind of went bad to worse throughout that one. Especially considering, he had a lot of pace from yesterday. Kind of did get a little bit screwed over by some stuff. Void Dawson, 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pits on those old tires, and I doubt that's the last of those penalties we'll see. Kendricks now has officially, I think, dropped the Sauber. He has. You can see no rear wing open on Isha's car, so that's going to allow Kendricks the opportunity to pull away and allow Viperize potentially the opportunity to close up and go battling for a podium. Of course, as we approach the halfway mark, we can take a look at some of those position change metrics, and I think if you're looking at a driver of the day, as of right now, it would have to be Viperize, 15 spots, so from 19th on the grid, all the way up to running in 4th and in clean air. And still time to go, so could we see Viperize take a shot at more of a win here. Strakasaur as well, starting 20th. He's gained 10 spots. Again, just has that, especially being on those medium tires now, it's going to be a matter less of if we'll see a puncture here for the Alpine, more just in terms of how well those tires will hold up specifically through these left-handed corners, as those left-hand side tires will wear significantly more because you have turn 1, you have turns 7 and 8. You have a lot of corners that are very dependent on those left-hand side tires. And so we'll have to see how this continues. But of course, a number of drivers still on lap. Strakasaur, leader of those who have pitted so far, as we continue to get closer and closer to that pit stop window. Viperize, meanwhile, taking about half a second out of each of that last lap. Kendrick's doing the same. So it'll definitely be interesting to see if we get a Kendrick's versus Viperize showdown in the last couple laps. But yeah, the pack very spread out. Jonah and Darwizzi battling through turn 7, or through, 7 and 8. Yellow flag in Sector 2. That's for the Aston Martin of Milan, if I'm not mistaken. R2, meanwhile, on those hards, just having a terrible day as he continues to drop like a rock. He's all the way down into P12. He's down behind Dawson now. So again, bad to worse for the Sauber. From the Jonah, meanwhile, finished P2, led for a large portion of that race at Texas. And again, just having another solid showing here in Portimao, currently running P7. And I think it's just consistency is the name of the game for the LSR founder and co-owner. So we'll have DRS here on the Red Bull of Darwizzi. Going to take a look to the inside, but Darwizzi defends. So potentially, could that open the door for Formula Jonah as we run down into turn 3, looking to potentially set something up. But no, just looking to get as good of an exit as possible through 3. And then you got, of course, got the uphill left of 4. Very hard to get exactly right. You really want to upshift twice all the way up in the 5th. But DRS once again for Jonah. He's going to look around the outside of that turn 5 hairpin, looking for the switchback now on the Red Bull as we drive up the hill. Within a 10th and a half, Darwizzi going to come across, though, block off that move. And they'll have to go for another lap. But lap 16 here, and only one driver still on that starting set of softs. It is Seiyao, who's gone 14 laps. Of course, we'll likely have something coming here for that incident with LSR Stratting. But it's Ollie Jelly with a comfortable 7.6 second advantage as he looks to continue to try and pull away here. Well, Kendrick's, again, just kind of keeping pace with him, keeping him honest, at least. So Ollie Jelly certainly has to be consistent. As Viperize dives into the pits here, start of lap 17. He thinks those mediums are done, and it is time for the softs. If I'm not mistaken, does he have soft set? No! Viperize actually with the hard set. So Viperize making the move to go to hards as well, as will Darwizzi. So Viperize in the same boat as Bartu. But yeah, those softs really don't have a significant amount of dig, and the hards, I think, just don't have loads of grip. Viperize still will come out ahead of Strakasaur fairly comfortably as well, who was his main threat there. But I think if you can make it this far in a set of mediums, it's much better to take the extra 3 laps and try to go to a set of softs, even if they are used, as Formula Jonah is the recipient of a 3-second time penalty. I think it's much better to go to those used softs as opposed to the set of hards. Granted, that doesn't mean Viperize is in a bad spot, as Bartu out of the session, and that'll bring out the safety car, so that'll change the whole makeup of the race, and that really puts Viperize on the back foot here, as we do have the safety car out. Ollie Jelly was able to time it and dive into the pits. It'll also allow a couple drivers back into the race. Speedy, should get back into the race as well. Seiyao, I think, will have it there too. It allows everybody, and so maybe now you're not in quite as bad of a spot. Isha, 10 seconds speeding in the pits, so that's a big mistake there from him. Everybody else making sure that they get their cars stopped. Here comes DeChal in the pits. It's softs for Kendricks, it's hards for Ollie. And this actually may work in terms, if you're talking about specific compound choice, this may actually work to Viperize's advantage, as the softs, definitely it's going to be a challenge if you want to stretch those softs for the remainder of this race, because you're talking about 16 laps on a set of softs. So those hards may still be a really solid tire. Viperize as well, not losing any positions in the end there. We will have a car between him and Isha, though, in the Aston Martin of Milan, who is that lap down. And I think drivers have and respect Delta briefly. But yes, drivers that are certainly out of the race. Milan's out of the race, as is Debo, but everybody else will remain on the lead lap, but we're probably looking at an extended safety car period as it stands. But yeah, the soft's not going to wear too quickly. Bartu has left the session as well. But I think the safety car period certainly could be an opportunity for a number of drivers to extend that soft tire stint. But I think especially, early, it's, if you can get those hards into the window you want them, it could still be a good situation to be in on the hards, especially towards the end, if you can keep it close. And I think one of the big advantages here for the likes of Viperize and Dawson on those harder compounds is they at least got a couple of laps to get some heat into those tires, so it'll be easier to at least keep in that window. Especially since we should get going with about 13 laps to go. The drivers behind will have to get a decent amount of wear on those tires to keep them in temperature and in tune. Again, lap number 19, Dachal, actually with a mistake there. He's going to lose a whole bunch of positions that are going to have to be seated back, I believe. But yeah, Dachal going to drop all the way down to 7th there. That'll allow Gabich up to 5th. Jonah now up into 6th. But again, safety car period here because of the crash of Bartu coming up the hill right here at turn number 4. And still going to be waiting to get back underway. Again, probably going to be a minute as we'll be waiting for the likes of Speedy Gunner and Seau to make their ways back around. Viperize, yeah, there's a couple of lap cars in the mix. There's Debo and Milan, both kind of in the way, but they should both cede those positions rather quickly. As Shark has actually left the session as well now that he is retired. That's Milan off circuit, even under VSC conditions here. And I think Viperize has Viperize managed to get by? He has not. I thought Viperize may have managed to get by the Aston Martin briefly. As Formula Jono, then accidental overtake. Gabicho will go back through as well, but a bit of chaos there, as Gabicho seems to be a little bit all over the place. As what is going on? I think the Aston Martin of Milan is trying to give positions, but I'm not really sure what's going on at this point. But Viperize did manage to at least close that gap by 1. Jonah's AI hit him and overtook him. I got you. Quick reminder to any drivers who are here, unless you are typing in the Discord chat, you must remain in control of your car under safety car conditions or under formation lap. That is a rule that we have. If we do start to see it being abused, we will certainly be policing it more and more strictly. Should be one more lap under safety car, and then we'll get back underway as Speedy Gunner and Seau hustle their cars round and are pulling up to the back of the grid. I got a rainbow tire choice here. So it'll definitely be a test as to which of the strategies are the way to go. I think Viperize still showed that he had the pace to be in a decent spot, but both McLarens going to hards may be a concern here. And Kendrick's in a great spot on that set of softs, but he'll have to manage the Williams of Debo before getting underway. I also think if you're Debo, you made a big mistake by boxing as soon as that safety car came out, because you had a chance to get your lap back and stay in this race for points. But now you're fully out of it and may as well have retired. We'll get back going here. Start a lap number 21. as we come up to that second timing marker. It is going to be certainly an interesting question to see when Ollie Jelly decides to make that breakaway. I'd imagine he is going to make it rather early, but Ollie Jelly, of course, now in control of the field. So he'll back everybody up, and we'll look to get back underway here in Portugal. Be 13 to go next time across the line. Again, still waiting for that safety car to be fully in before we get underway. Just keep an eye on that yellow marker down on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. So we'll see when Ollie opts to make a break and make a bolt. Still coming through the final couple of corners. And now he has full control and will get underway almost immediately. And that's a great breakaway for him, as he got a big jump on Debo behind, who's now going to be ceding position to everybody. But it's an 8/10 gap now for Ollie Jelly back to Kendricks. He was going to have the AI in the way. There's an Aston Martin round. That's Milan ceding position to everybody. Viperize, 3-second time penalty due to track limit, so that's a big loss for him. Remember as well, Isha does have a 10-second time penalty. Kendricks right now, the only driver in the top 5 without a time penalty. So definitely something important to consider. Here comes Viperize looking down the inside of Isha, looking to get that move done, get the power down on the exit, but not enough speed carried through that corner to be able to pull away. Potentially those hards not going to be working in Viperize's favor, as he needs perhaps a little bit more time to get them up to temperature. And there's the Ferrari all over him as well of Formula Jonah, who is on the soft tire. Alcoholic has had a nice recovery as well. He's all the way up into 6th. Meanwhile, Bachal down in P12. Gabicho, 3-second time penalty due to track limits. He's down in P10. So again, I think that's what this battling, this wheel-to-wheel brawling really, will force a bunch of drivers to take those extra warnings and will receive track limits penalties. Remember, this pack is still all within DRS range due to Debo still pushing and looking to keep with the pack. DRS is going to be enabled here. So that's going to mean the front pack is not going to be able to break away as Kendricks takes the lead here in Portugal. As Ollie Jelly, who's led right from the off, now is dropped to P2, looking to fight it as we go back into P3. Milan going to retire from the session. As a Williams of Debo still there, but Kendricks now looking to maybe make a bit of a breakaway, bit of a wiggle there, though, is going to allow Ollie Jelly the potential to fight it. Again, I think struggling to get any heat and grip into those tires, though, as he continues to fight. And again, the pack still all very close together. Speedy Gunner up in 8th. He's another driver who's had a solid recovery drive after being caught up in an early incident. He's now ahead of, he's still ahead of Gabicho and Dawson. And he's looking to get back underway and score some solid Ferrari points. Isha, meanwhile, has fallen off the back of the 2 cars ahead. It's 1.3 seconds. We'll stay on board with this battle. It's really the closest one on track in the battle for the last of the podium spots, as Formula Jonah looking to find a way past. Again, down to really only 14 drivers properly in the race for points. As Kendricks now with a 1.1 second edge. Here comes Viperize down the inside. He'll find a way past Isha. Here comes Jonah looking to make it 2 in 1 go. DRS on the Ferrari. He's going to be pushing. They're going to be side by side as we run into turn 1. Who's going to yield last? It's going to be close, but Viperize just manages to keep that McLaren ahead. And it's Viperize up in a third. A McLaren 2-3, but Viperize looking very fighty. Alcoholic now on the scene on a set of soft compound tires. He's got Strachosaur in tow. Alcoholic going to go defensive. Strachosaur going to go deep, locks up there, and does make contact with Alcoholic, but that actually might have turned the Alpine very nicely, as he's able to get a great exit there and get on the power. Strachosaur up into P6. Viperize now, I think, going to be trying to look to make a breakaway, less from, more from Strachosaur than anybody else, as he's the big, he and Alcoholic, the big, question marks here, as they're the only ones in the top 10 without a time penalty. So that'll certainly be something to watch out for. Going to be 10 laps to go. Next time cross the line, and it's a 2-second advantage for Kendricks as we look to get back underway. It's Formula Jonah, though, very close to the back of Viperize. He's going to have DRS this time, and almost before getting DRS, Formula Jonah goes to the inside and will move up into P3. So Formula Jonah up into the podium places. And now there's a chance to go after the other McLaren of Ali Jelly. And could it be back-to-back P2s for Formula Jonah here to open up the season? It's up over the hill into the hairpin. Strakasaur and Isha also battling. Isha locking up a little bit, maybe going deep. There's the V-Carb of Alcoholic going deep as well. They're going to battle up over the hill, and it's going to be Strakasaur taking the outside there. He'll have the inside, though, for 7 and 8. Isha going to fight it around the outside, though. They're going to bang a little bit, but I think it's going to be Strakasaur at the end of it as they come up over the hill. It is the Alpine out in front. Yeah, Strakasaur, another driver with a great recovery drive. He has, though, lost DRS advantage back to up to Viperize, rather. And so we'll see how those mediums continue to last as this race continues. As, yeah, again, a second and a half the advantage for Viperize. So we'll see if he can make that 3 by the time this race ends. Viperize will still have DRS for the moment, as Formula Jonah also closing up to Viperize's teammate of Ollie Jelly. And Strakasaur is going to have to defend as well from any of the charging cars behind him. But as we start lap number 25, it's still a comfortable advantage, and Strakasaur is still taking little chunks here and there out of Viperize's time. So certainly still a lot in it. Kendricks, meanwhile, is really starting to make a comfortable getaway. Ollie Jelly a little bit wide there. So yeah, those hards definitely a struggle here. But we're getting to that point where I think the softs and the hards are going to be about equal. I think mediums are probably the best tire as of this moment. But we'll have to wait and see how this continues, as Jonah still under some pretty big threat from Viperize behind. So those softs may be starting to go off, as Viperize looking to fight to make it a double McLaren podium, as he'll slide up ahead. But is that a little bit of gamesmanship there from Jonah, knowing that DRS is coming up? Strakasaur, meanwhile, has latched on to the end of this group of 2 drivers battling for third on track. As here comes Jonah now, he'll have the DRS. Rear wing open, they'll blast down into turn number 1. Formula Jonah gonna head to the inside. And is going to take advantage. Viperize looking for the switchback. Ollie Jelly with another 3-second time penalty for track limits. So that's going to make his chances at a higher finish even worse. They're going to go side by side now through turn 4, and it's Formula Jonah who's going to have to yield. He'll have DRS once again, though. And this is now quickly becoming a 5-way fight. Strakasaur having to go defensive there from Isha. And yeah, as you can see, 5 cars all very, very tight in the on-track battle for third. It's going to allow Ollie Jelly to maybe make a bit of a breakaway and still try and maximize his points. Of course, he'll be ruining that safety bar car, but Kendricks getting it absolutely spot on for the strategy call. Medium soft, definitely the way to go. He's now got a 4.3 second edge to the next closest car behind. We can take a look as well at fastest lap while we're here, just to get an idea of where that stands. I'd imagine that it is Kendricks of 1:18.8. So we'll see if anybody tries to go for that time. But Viperize now will lead this battle for P3. Formula Jonah will get him through that first couple of corners. Bit of contact there between Isha and Strakasaur. Not a great exit, though, for Jonah. Here comes Viperize. Actually, it was just a defensive move there from Jonah. He'll defend down into the hairpin of turn number 5. Again, Isha going in a little bit deep, and I think, Husky starting to struggle on that soft tire. Starting to fall off that pack, but I think he's still in a great spot to pick up some really good points for V-Carb on a day where his team, they had rather poor luck at the start. But if, Alcoholic in particular has done a great job to recover that car. Viperize, meanwhile, I think that those hards starting to have more and more grip Viper is just getting more and more confident. And what this is doing as well is allowing his teammate of Ollie Jelly just to pull out that little bit more and more ahead. So I think Viper is doing a great job here at playing the team game and potentially giving his teammate the chance to score maximum points. Because, you know, Viper Eyes may be thinking, okay, hey, the strategy didn't entirely go to plan. I can still defend from these cars, and that still gives my team a decent shot as they'll defend from Jonah into turn 1. You gotta remember, it's 6 seconds of time penalties for Ollie Jelly ahead. So Viper Eyes, you know, again, whether it's intentional or not, is doing a great job, and now has actually DRS from Debo ahead. Void Dawson has sadly not had this race go to plan. He'll dive into the pits, swap off that old set of medium compound tires. But we will likely have a new championship. We will more than likely have a new championship leader going in to next week. Speedy Gunner, 3-second time penalty for track limits. So that could dampen his outing some more. But keep an eye on that interval on the left-hand side of your screen, as Viper Eyes with the potential to set his teammate up with a race that kind of just went away from both of them when it looked like a great outing for McLaren, and certainly would still be good points. Depending on how this pans out, the Williams of Debo going to dive into the pits and receive a 10-second time penalty, so his race fully over. But it does allow Viper Eyes DRS for that one more lap to continue to hold off the likes of Jonah, the likes of Strakosaur. That is a retirement in the pit lane, so no safety car will come out there. We're also getting the point in the race where safety car will kind of permanently go in. But 4.5 seconds, the gap ahead. And now Viper Eyes, I think, going to have to go defensive again. Not this lap, though, as he manages to continue to hold off Jonah. And again, Strakosaur and Isha, no real spot to go. But as of right now, it would be Strakosaur finishing in P2. And then I'm not sure how the rest of the pack would pan out. Alcoholic is definitely in there with a chance at a podium here, though I think he'd likely come in about P4, because I think the order right now, we can go to the leader gap as of this point and detail in penalties. So Ollie Jelly would slot in currently. He's right around that mark, so it's going to be very close. If Viper Eyes can manage to hold off this charging pack, can manage to slow them up enough over these last 4 laps here on Portimao, and Viper is going to go super defensive here, going to pull all the way and coming down that pit lane wall is going to, be dumping full battery there, but Jonah around the outside, Viper is going to fight it, is going to just about stay in front and continue to put Jonah off. Here comes the Alpina Strakosaur, who's going to find his way past Jonah, pushing him a little bit wide. There goes Strakosaur around the outside, and so it's Strakosaur up in the 4th. Jonah losing out big there. He's down into 6th. Behind Isha, who of course does have that 10-second time penalty. Jonah, though, going to look to sneak it up the inside and try and continue to go fighting. But it's going to be so tight as we come to the line between some of these drivers. As the gap still sitting at right around 6 seconds. We'll go back to that leader gap with the penalties. Once we get to the end of this race, I'll leave penalties up as the detail. As at this point in the race, tires, I think, going to be all about even. I think hards slowly becoming that stronger compound. But we'll see how this continues. Start on lap 31. Kendricks, again, just continuing to pull away. That's a 4-second gap up at the front. And last season's champion just going to look to continue to pull away here. But again, good race for him for sure. Viper Eyes continues to hold back the field through the first few corners. And they'll blast down into turn 5. And again, that gap staying at around that 6-second mark. So Viper Eyes doing a great job here and making sure that McLaren try and, yeah, Viper is even saying he's trying to back them up. And so he's at right around that 6-second mark, and then he can really take off and try to push. Because Strachosaur is 6.5 seconds back or so from Ollie Jelly. So Viper is doing a great job here. Alcoholic has found a way past Formula Jonah as well. So has Alcoholic saved up enough tire life in the tank? Because remember, he's on soft as well. So has he managed to hold on? As I say that, that's a bit of a twitch there from him. But can he find second wind on that soft tire? Viperize going heavily defensive once again. Here comes Strachosaur. DRS, rear wing, gonna open up. Here comes the Alpine. The McLaren gonna have to defend here, and he'll do it successfully as we start the penultimate lap with this group. Again, that gap sitting at around 6 seconds. So they'll come up the hill. And again, they got hovering around 6 seconds. Ollie Jelly is actually closed up to Kendricks a lot. So those hards, certainly better than the softs. So now it's a question of the hards versus the mediums and the softs versus the mediums. Here on lap 32, especially at the age they are at. Kendricks, I think, really struggling for grip. He doesn't have to save fuel either, luckily. Actually, Kendricks, I think, just saving up at this point, try and go for a final push lap. He actually had ERS off there. And that's what's he's lost a lot of time to Ollie Jelly. Kendricks could be about to try and maybe play the same game that Viperize is playing here, as Viperize has managed to drop Strachosaur. So can Strachosaur get back within DRS range here? He will not. So Viperize has, successfully backed up Strachosaur over the course of that lap, but Kendricks now, knowing that Ollie has penalties, may be looking to, do the same thing here, as he'll slow that car right down through these first couple of corners. Here comes Ollie Jelly on him. Viperize, though, gonna have to, gonna attack here. Kendricks is gonna have to hold up Ollie Jelly quite a bit to try and maximize points there, as we got an interesting bit of gamesmanship going on between the Alpine and McLaren teams. We'll go ahead and swap to the leader here. But keep an eye on that gap for Strachosaur, as Kendricks doesn't necessarily have to worry about Ollie overtaking him because of the penalties. He is just going to, I think, try to slow him down a little bit, try and put him off. Ollie Jelly will take the lead here on track, but it is a 6-second time penalty for him. And it's 7.4 seconds, the gap to Strachosaur. Kendricks, I think, not looking to do anything stupid here and throw away a win. There's just a couple of corners left to go now. I think he should have it. Speedy Gunner as well. Another time penalty for track limits. And so despite coming across the line first, Ollie Jelly will finish second. It'll be Kendricks winning the race here in Portugal for Alpine. Ollie Jelly will come second. Viperize doing a great team job to secure him that spot on the podium. Strachosaur, though, will make it a double Alpine podium. He'll finish third. Viperize, at the end of the day, will come in fourth after being able to kind of bolt away there. So it's Alpine McLaren here. Alcoholic has done a great job. He finishes P5. Formula Jonah with a great drive as well to finish 6th. Isha finishes 7th after coming so close to a win last time out in Texas. Darwizzi in 8th. Speedy Gunner will finish 9th. And Rostamole will round out your top 10 for everybody in the points. And, of course, just waiting on the Williams of Dawson. But, of course, congratulations to Kendricks on that win. Some great racing going on here. And, fun to get some of those mind games in there. But, yeah, Kendricks the win. I'd imagine driver of the day is going to be his teammate. It is going to be Strachosaur. Though I think you can make the case for either Strachosaur or Viperize, who had some great battles out there. But this battle between Alpine and McLaren definitely going to be one to watch as this season continues. And of course, we got our final race of this kind of first set of 3 next weekend with a sprint format with the sprint format in China. So we got our first kind of specialty race next week. So definitely be sure to join us for that, as we'll get plenty of racing action. But it's Kendricks from 6th on the grid, and Strachosaur and Viperize from the back finishes 3rd and 4th. But until next time, We will see you later.